We begin with breaking news. Crews responding to a fire on the city's northwest side.
This is specifically happening on Bandera Road, not too far from Woodlawn Avenue. Our Zaria Oates is there right now. Zaria, you've been speaking with officials there. What can you tell us?
Yeah, we just spoke with the battalion chief literally 30 seconds ago. He tells us that there were no people inside of the building at the time of this fire. Now, the building is just behind me. There's still some smoke in the area, but there were no injuries at this time, and there was no one inside of the building when this fire started or at any point when the fire team was putting this out. Now, there is an apartment building right next door to the building that was on fire, and no fire did touch that building. They did say that they have been out to this specific location at multiple times this year, the fire department specifically, for calls of emergency medical services, but they haven't responded to any other fire calls at this building earlier this year. Now, a person who's been in this area for many years did tell us that the fire department has been called several times during the winter for some fires started on and around this property where this building was caught on fire. We don't know to what extent the number of fire department calls were happening at this building prior to now, but we do know that this is not a first-time incident at this building that was on fire. We do know that the building is out, and again, we do know that there were no injuries and no deaths at this time. We are still waiting on more information as to what started this fire. The battalion chief did say that this fire could have started from multiple different points within the building and that the building was pretty well boarded up, and that's why it took so long to put the fire out. But as of right now, we don't know what started the fire. We do just know that there were no injuries. Live on the northwest side, Zaria Oates, KSAT 12 News.
Zaria, thank you. In other news tonight, arrests and the death of a 21-year-old girl are really starting to add up.
Today, 2 additional men suspects behind bars, bringing the total to 3, including a college athlete.
And as the night team's John Paul Barajas reports, the Bexar County Sheriff has a message for the other suspects that are still out there.
21-year-old Desiree Rivera was shot and killed more than 7 months ago. On March 9th, she was attending an illegal rave off of Old Pearsall Road, not far from Southwest High School. That's when a group of people were kicked out after a fight, but before taking off.
It's believed that they pulled up onto the road, Old Pearsall Road, which actually sits above the building. And so shooting down into the building, somebody from that car began firing pretty wildly.
Bexar County Sheriff Javier Salazar says they believe these 3 men were all in the car when Rivera was hit and killed, and another man was hit but survived. 20-year-old Jonathan Arriola was arrested last month. 20-year-old Lorenzo Montes was arrested today. And 19-year-old Hector Torres was also arrested today, but in Missouri, where he attends college at Hannibal LaGrange.
I believe he was some sort of a scholarship athlete. By all accounts, looking at it, he had a bright future ahead of him. He ruined a young lady's life. In the meantime, he also seriously trashed his future.
All 3 men are facing charges of murder and aggravated assault with a gun for the drive-by. And the sheriff says others in the car could soon be facing the same.
Do we know how many people total might have been in that car?
We believe there's an additional 2 people in that car. So again, it would behoove those people to call us sooner rather than later. I'm sure they would much rather be witnesses in this case than co-defendants.
The sheriff adds the people who organized the illegal party could be facing charges for having the event, but also for potentially concealing evidence. He asked anyone with information to call Crime Stoppers at 210-224-STOP. John Paul Barajas, KSAT 12 News.
So currently you have more in the jail than our
capacity-wise, yes, sir.
Nameplate capacity.
Yes.
Past capacity. New on the Nightbeat, too many inmates in the Bexar County Jail. That's the issue officials with the Bexar County Sheriff's Office are seeing right now. The short-term solution, ask other counties for help. Seems to be what they're doing. As of yesterday, the jail had just more than 5,100 inmates, 5,144 to be exact. The capacity, 5,075. To help space those inmates out, the jail has 6 inmates in Kerr County, 89 in Burnett County. Sheriff Javier Salazar says he believes many of the inmates here in Bexar County shouldn't be in jail, but rather getting mental health or rehab help.
We've also got way too many people at any given time, several hundred, that should be in a mental health bed.
Correct.
But there are none to send them to. We've got a lot of people that should be in a rehab bed, but there are no beds to send them to.
It's the sheriff talking to Commissioner's Court today. The sheriff says the reason more inmates are being booked into jail, he believes, is due to a rise in violent crime.
Also new on the Night Beat tonight, another Clemens High School student has been arrested. Schertz police say that student was threatening to bring an explosive to school and also shoot it up. So the student is now facing terroristic threat charges. You may remember that just last night on the Night Beat, we also told you that police had arrested 2 other students after a gun was found at a Clemens school event. And police are saying that those 2 incidents are not connected.
I don't care what it takes. Something has to be done before it happens again.
The "it" that the woman's referring to has to do with teacher safety. Earlier this year, her husband, Alfred Jimenez, died after the Northside ISD says that a student at Brandeis High School hurt him. Our
KSAT Investigates team found more than 4,000 reports of educators in Bexar County who said they were being punched, kicked, and stabbed in school. It's a story we aired last night on the Night Beat. And what we found since that story aired is many of you agree it's become dangerous for teachers in our classrooms. On Facebook, Beverly Reyes says, quote, "This is so sad. Not only are teachers mistreated physically, but emotionally as well," end quote.
And then over on X, Christopher Terraza says, quote, "This is not cool. This is why so many people leave the field." And on Instagram, a substitute teacher says that they also saw an increase in violent behavior. And they say they stopped working because they felt like they were class sitting and not teaching.
Of course, we're going to continue to keep digging into this story. If you are a parent or teacher, we want to hear what you think.
So scan the QR code that you see on your screen. It'll take you directly to our survey. And here's the thing, you don't have to share your name.
You can also see how many reports of teachers' injuries were made at your child's school. You can see all of that right now at KSAT.com.
So it is hard to believe, just 6 days. For months, we visited small towns across our area to speak to you about the issues that you care about. Well, tonight we have our final episode of Your Voice South Texas. Episode 8 takes us to Castroville. The city just west of San Antonio, known for its charming historic homes, is changing a lot because it's growing. People in Castroville spoke about that and how their location, their specific location, is affecting how they're planning to vote this election.
It's not uncommon to see high-speed chases through here, or people pull alongside the road with people that maybe are not here legally. The railroad's 7 miles to the south of us. It's a major pipeline in and out of San Antonio.
There's just an uneasiness of there's not certainty of what either one party and or candidate is truly offering. The more I talk to people in the community, they're kind of hesitant and waiting to see what decisions they make based on the outcome. And that's been weird to me to see.
Yeah, that's just a taste of what you'll see on the 8th and final episode of Your Voice South Texas. Scan that QR code right there so you can watch the full episode that we shot in Castroville.
People are still heading to the polls to vote early. It's a great thing. According to the Bexar County Elections Department, just a little more than 50,000 of you voted today. 469,995 people have voted in total here in Bexar County so far. Now, if you haven't made it out yet, you can still vote early until Friday. If you're registered, polls are open this week from 8 a.m. till 8 p.m. After that, you can vote on Election Day, which is Tuesday, November 5th. In less than 24 hours, the kiddos will hit the streets to trick or treat.
Tonight, Team Zaria Oates shares some key safety guidelines to make sure that you and your family have the most fun while also staying safe.
Spooky season doesn't have to come with spooky consequences. 2 former first responders, Elike and Rico, say some of their biggest safety tips coincide with candy and lighting.
Before you eat the candy, make sure you check it, right? So there's some weirdos out there that may try to do something to the candy, so make sure you inspect it before you eat it.
You've probably heard the age-old rumor about people putting things inside of candy. Whether you've experienced this or not, it's always important not to eat any candy that's been tampered with. This means if the wrapper has a hole in it or isn't wrapped around the candy like it comes from the manufacturer, it's best not to eat it. Candy from other people can also expose your child to new foods and allergens. Be sure to inspect your child's candy for anything they may be allergic to before eating it. Most trick-or-treating also tends to happen after the sun sets.
We'd like to remind parents to think about their children being seen. So at night, make sure they're wearing something reflective or something highly brightly colored, just so that they can be visible on the road. We want to get all of our kids home. Implement the wingman system like we do in the Air Force. So one, that means don't go anywhere alone. Always have a buddy there with you, right? But then two, for parents, just keep a close eye on them because you never know. In the blink of an eye, they can kind of wander off and be missing.
There are also things to keep in mind for adults with or without children. If you're going to be driving at night, remember to watch out for kids on the road. And if you're going to be drinking, don't get behind the wheel.
We understand this time of year, there's a lot of Halloween parties and Halloween bashes, but be smart, use an Uber, use a Lyft. Think about the kids and the families that all got to get home safe.
Zaria Oates, KSAT 12 News.
Riding a mule from Texas to Brazil, not only is it possible, it's happening right now, and they're making a pit stop in San Antonio. Tonight on the Nightbeat, we introduce you to them, why they're doing it, and how they hope to help a local hospital in Brazil.
A man from South America currently in the San Antonio area and traveling by mule.
Okay, so I'm sure you have a lot of questions. His goal here is to get from Texas to the city that he's from in Brazil, and he's doing it to educate people about the culture of the Brazilian cowboy. And then at the end of the journey, he's planning to donate the mules that he's using for that trip to raise money for a hospital in Brazil.
We sent the night team's John Paul Barajas out to Spring Branch to meet this guy.
Taking a step in this man's shoes isn't for the faint of heart. He's on a journey that many people nowadays would never even dream of trying. Traveling from Texas to Brazil on a mule in a 2-year time span.
I really would like to promote my culture in Brazil, which is a culture is different from the cowboys here in America.
Pedro Enrique Biondo Matias explains he's taking on the journey with his dog and 2 mules. His hope along the way is spread awareness on the culture of Brazilian cattle drivers, or boiadeiros. A boiadeiro is easily identified by his instrument, which he uses to wake up cattle, control their pace, and warn others of danger in the area. As for his end goal, that'll come with saying thank you and goodbye to the trusted steeds that get him to his finish line.
After arriving in Brazil, I'm going to donate them for a cancer hospital, which treats everyone for free in Brazil.
Both mules will go to auction and money raised will go to the hospital. As for Pedro's journey, it started about 20 days ago in Fort Worth. He plans to make it to his hometown in Brazil by August 2026.
But are you worried about cartels?
I'm just a guy that is riding with 2 mules and a dog. What harm we can do for someone.
Pedro isn't as worried with man-made trouble as he is with that made by Mother Nature, like the Darien Gap, the 60-mile stretch of dangerous rainforest and mountains that connect Central to South America.
I think the best idea is just ship the mules on a boat.
But until then, he'll enjoy what the United States has to offer.
And then when you can, you go through a drive-through at McDonald's.
Yeah, exactly.
Chicken Big Mac?
Yeah, okay, Big Mac.
Chicken Big Mac.
No. Big Mac, just a Big Mac, just a hamburger.
Only car that I got is the mules. The mules is like cars, right? To me.
So how is this trip made possible? Pedro says he's relied on sponsors from one of the largest rodeos in Brazil that he plans to attend when he makes it back, as well as his social media following growing and strangers along the way giving him and his crew a place to rest, eat, and hydrate.
Hospitality of the Americans, it's amazing. Practically is the most important thing that I needed.
Hospitality.
Yes, exactly.
John Paul Barajas, KSAT 12 News.
Wow.
What a story. And he's not getting home until August of 2026.
Wow. Now, Pedro says that he is stopping next in the Fair Oak Gray Forest area. And as far as the rest of the trip, he's going to be mapping that out as he goes. To
follow the story, you can follow him on social media. We've got that link on KSAT.com.
Now, I know what a lot of you are thinking about right now. You're thinking about trick-or-treating tomorrow and how are you going to bring your kids, how you should dress. Well, for that, let's head on over to meteorologist Adam Caskey.
I was actually thinking, how's this guy that's a long ride. I might go as the Brazilian cowboy.
I was going to say, I want to dress as Pedro with that big horn thing to call the cattle. That is to get the kids back in. Ooh, it's late. Come on in and sort your candy.
I just want one of those.
I want all of that. I love that guy. That's awesome.
Yep.
Okay, we do have to talk about our trick-or-treating weather. 10% chance of a brief shower during trick-or-treat time. Temperatures near 80. It's also going to be humid, so warm and humid. If you have a thick costume, get a little sweaty. And sunset at 6:48 p.m. That means it's darkness falls at 7:15 p.m. Look at the rain chances throughout the day. 30% in the morning, slightly higher in the hill country. But for the rest of us, 30% through noon, then dropping down to 10% later in the afternoon and evening. We'll start the day at 72 degrees, 76 at noon, 84 the high, and then again right near 80 during trick-or-treat time. Here's the cold front, actually a pretty potent cold front in the midsection of the country. Some severe weather in the midsection of the country. We're talking Kansas up toward Iowa. That's a severe weather threat zone. And this cold front is going to drop into our neck of the woods. It's just going to fall apart, though, as it does so. It's not going to affect temperatures or how it feels outside, or really even kick up the wind. Moving into the hill country tomorrow morning before sunrise with some scattered or widely separated showers and even a few non-severe thunderstorms, brief downpours possible. Again, better coverage in the hill country than locally. But once it gets towards San Antonio at about noon, it's going to fall apart, and we expect most of the showers to do the same and follow suit. Into the evening, a slight chance of a lingering shower. Again, a 10% chance here or there, brief, quick splash and dash. That would be it. So it's unlikely you're really going to need the umbrella during the trick-or-treating hours. But in the morning, we could have a few of those showers and some wet spots on the roadways. I want to talk about our next cold front, a real one, not like this one that's going to be fizzling out. But we'll be in the mid-80s through Monday. Look at Tuesday and Wednesday, low to mid-70s. For highs. 72 the afternoon high on Tuesday, 75 on Wednesday. So here's the current front, and it means business. I mean, we have 40s and 30s on the cold side of it. Meanwhile, on the warm side, at this hour, we're still in the 70s, almost 80 degrees here in Texas. But again, this is going to be fizzling out and slowing down as it approaches us. However, this is associated with this big trough, that dip in the upper level flow. Conversely, where you have the big blue H, that's where you have the warmth. Bottom line is we're going to see more of these troughs going forward. Like we were talking about last week, once we get into early November, we should start seeing more of these long wave troughs digging southward, which means more movement of that cooler air southward. And this is actually this trough Monday, that's going to be associated with that next cold front that's going to hit Monday night into early Tuesday. The exact strength of that front, still fairly uncertain, and especially how long that cooler air sticks around is very uncertain. But then on its heels, looks like another one dropping into the western U.S. So I like what I see overall in terms of just more fluctuations and more activity in the weather pattern, as we usually see in these transition seasons such as fall, which we're in right now. And notice some daily rain chances at 20 to 30% all the way through election day. So but I do want to point out, not one single day really holds the potential of some, good drought denting or soaking rain. This is just more of these isolated splash and dash, hit or miss brief showers or non-severe thunderstorms. And as a friendly reminder, as we look at live cam, for the analog clocks that you have left at your house, you need to set them back an hour Saturday night as we fall back, including the microwave and oven.
Thank you.
He's so helpful. All right, the Oklahoma City is where the Spurs are tonight.
Yeah, and the Thunder, one of the undefeated teams in the NBA, one of the couple that are left now, I believe, at least as of this moment. So the Spurs are at the Thunder. It was an 8:30 tip-off, and just looking at Pop's face, well, I think that sums it up for you. Plus, UTSA men's basketball, they want to push the pace this season. Coming up. The Spurs are at the Thunder right now. ESPN switched over late due to Boston, Indiana going to overtime. First quarter, Spurs led 8-2, but here come the Thunder. Chet Holmgren goes 3, tying this game at 10. And then he goes triple again as the Thunder lead 13-10, and they were up 25-19 after 1. Second quarter off a Thunder miss. The ball goes to Chris Paul, who throws it over the top to Jeremy Sohan for a layup, and the Spurs are down 15. OKC led 59-44 at halftime, and at last check, the Thunder, they were leading 82-70 at the end of the third quarter. So this morning at shoot-around, Chris Paul was asked about playing with Wemby and was asked how is he helping out the alien and how is he making things easier for Wemby.
I'm still figuring that out too. I think We still learning how to play off one another. He's not like anybody I've ever played with, you know what I mean? So it's not so easy to do this or to do that. You know, I've never seen a guy that height do dribble step backs, and I've never set ball screens for a 7-foot guy, you know what I mean? So I'm still learning at the same time too.
Spurs will play at the Utah Jazz tomorrow night at 8, their first back-to-back this season. Winners of 7 straight games, Texas A&M is getting ready to play at South Carolina. The 10th-ranked Aggies are 7-1 this season and a perfect 5-0 in the Southeastern Conference, the only undefeated squad in SEC games. Last Saturday, the Aggies had to rally to beat the LSU Tigers at Kyle Field, 38-23. The Tigers led 10-0 and 17-7 before A&M fought back behind backup QB Marcel Reed. Now, the Aggies will head to Columbia, South Carolina, where the Gamecocks are 2-2 this season.
Right, yep. Any game on the road in the SEC is a tough game, so we have to prepare the same every single week. So, yeah, getting people refocused. You know, we celebrated the LSU win, but that's over now. So, yeah, we're just focusing on this week, game planning, getting ready. It's loud. It's a tough environment. You know, they're fans. They get excited. So, you know, it's going to be a tough on-the-road game. So we just got to play our brand of football and go to work.
Texas A&M will play at South Carolina Saturday night at 6:30, and it's live on KSAT 12. The Pieper Warriors football team is undefeated this season and is flexing its muscles in more ways than one. With a win against Victoria East on Friday night, the Warriors could clinch at least a share of the District 13 5A D1 title. But the Pieper coaching staff might have the title as the most in shape group of coaches in the region. So we asked them, is that a requirement?
I don't require it per se, but they know that it's important, yes, to all of us. So yes, most of the coaches on staff still work out, because we believe, I mean, if you're going to lead these guys and you're going to ask them to do some of these things, that, I mean, we got to be doing them ourselves. So we try to practice what we preach.
We have coaches out here running during the day, running miles, doing push-ups, working out in our gym, so it definitely motivates us. When your coach is fit, it makes you want to, you know, go out and do the same thing.
Those are all guys that you would want to grow up to be, and like those are role models that you'd look up to.
Pieper is part of the BGC road trip Friday night. The Warriors will host Victoria East in Game 1. MacArthur will play Smithson Valley in Game 2. And the last stop will see the Steel Knights at New Braunfels Canyon. The UTSA men's basketball team, they want to play fast after the break. UTSA men's basketball program is hard at work getting ready for their first season under new head coach Austin Clonch, who was hired back in March. Clonch was head coach at Nicholls State for 5 seasons, where he went 90-61 overall. Then last season he was an assistant coach at Alabama, and now he's a road runner. He wants to push the pace and play fast and have his team get up and down the court.
The offense is fun. Coach wants us to play fast, play free, play with our how we know how to play, but keep everything within the flow. But it's fun.
We want to play fast. We want to shoot a lot of threes, but that's not, you know, it's not necessarily a game goal. I mean, we want to, if we can get layups and open, you know, open mid range, or we just want to get open shots, you know. And certainly we'll take a great shot as fast as we can get it. If that happens in 5 seconds, that's great. If it happens in 25 seconds, that's great.
Coach and his road runners will host the Trinity Tigers Monday night at 7. In the World Series, Game 5, Dodgers at the Yankees. The Dodgers are leading 7-6. That is now in the top of the 9th inning. New York led 5-0 after 3, and it wasn't looking all that good for the Dodgers. And it's not over yet.
Yeah.
But at least they're fighting.
Yeah. Dodgers win, it's done.
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks, Larry.
We'll be right back. So just a quick programming note, since KSAT aired our Muertos Fest special tonight instead of the regular programs, you can still watch The Golden Bachelorette and Abbott Elementary tomorrow and Friday. So let's go back here. The Golden Bachelorette you can watch in a few hours at 1 a.m. and then Abbott Elementary is going to be airing Friday morning at 1. We have a link with all that information on KSAT.com.
Adam.
Let's get you in the spirit. Ready for that's a
good looking house.
I was going to say that's a strong web job right there. And look at this. Niece made her Halloween costume and won first place. I love that. Homemade.
Hey, that's pretty creative. Love that. Good night.
See you tomorrow.
Transformer.